Hi everybody, I'm Henry from Excellent Analytics. This video is about implementation of data cleaning routine prior conducting data or predictive analysis. This example can be applied in manufacturing, supply chain, product sales report, or alike. Our objective here is to spot or find the redundant item number or material number versus its description of the product item or vice versa. Using combined DAX functions of DistinctCount, AllExcept, CountAX, and ever popular Calculate+Filter function will enable us to achieve our objective. These mentioned functions are helpful to quantify, list down, and identify the hiding dodgy data that are necessary to be reviewed in order for business intelligence or data analysts to give accurate information to the audience and business executives. If you've seen my previous video, I did once demonstrate on how to merge or do VLOOKUP by integrating the master list data of the correct material and description partnership into the fact data. This is another way to correct and clean your datasheet. By the way, I reused again the Power BI forecasting tool with a linear and average trend line into this demonstration of finding dubious data because it has a good example of redundant or typo error of description or item number. So we will continue to work on plenty of examples using this forecasting and historical orders with a trend line to further learn and familiarize the DAX functions of Power BI or Excel tool in these simple real-world numbers. Lastly, by using this example of dataset will enable us to complete a project at the end of the day. I believe many of you know the downside of dubious data if left untreated. It has a real risk of being led down the wrong direction toward business mishandling. Like for an example, as you notice here, we have one material number and yet it has a two material description and the data is split into two, like for example this year 2021, and also similar to this the rest of the dubious data. Supposing you don't have a master list of corrected item numbers, what is your option? So your option is to review the fact data by counting list down and compare the material number versus its description or vice versa, and the ideal and correct result is that all pairs should have the same number of items and no multiple partners, just like this. Fundamentally, that's why we call them pairs. None of each should have more or less number of items. Then report the anomalies to the system management, or you can correct it by yourself because it is likely is your job to correct typographical errors in a naming convention. Okay, let's start by counting or quantify the distinct material number and distinct material description. Let's name it number of material number, and the DAX function is DistinctCount, and the table and the column is combined table material, and that's it. Okay, let's use clustered column chart. Let's drag this number, let's count it, and let's use 15 types. Then continue the counting the number of distinct material description, then distinct count by material description. There you are, and let's put it aside. So there are 658 distinct material number and 699 for the number of description. Okay, next we need to list down the number of description for each material number by using the matrix visualization. Then under the rows field, we need to put this material first. This material number is listed down here in a distinct manner. Then that include this material description. There you are. Okay, let's expand. Okay, we need to disable the step layout so that we can see the partnership clearly. There you go. And also let's put some grid line. Okay, these are the good pairs of material number versus the description. Let's take a look at them and find or spot any which are the dubious data. Okay, we found one which is 101152. It has a double partner. Let's find another one. Okay, there are quite many. We need to separate and list them here so that we can see them visually. Okay, how to do that? By adding a measure, and let's call this measure as list of description for each material number, because we need to count the number of description for each material number. That's why this is the main. The first function we'll use is calculate, because it allows us to use filter and expression at the same time. Okay, the expression here should be the number of description, because we need to count the number of description for each material number. Since we are trying to count the description for each material number, we need to preserve the context filter of material column. So that's why we need to use AllExcept. So basically we need to lock or preserve the material number column, which is this one. There you are. Then closing parentheses of AllExcept and the calculate after. Now let's bring down this newly calculated measure into these values. Okay, you don't see them, but we can separate them using this sort. Just click this header and we'll sort from highest to lowest. Okay, so these are the good partners and these are the double partners. So how to filter them to show this dual partnership only and remove this good one by adding additional measure, and let's call it list of redundant description for each material number. Okay, now again, we need to use the calculate function. Expression is this. We need to use this previous measure that we did. And this time we use the filter. And of course, the table is the main query. And of course, we need to separate them by using this operation. Oh, sorry, it should be list. Yeah, that is greater than 1. There you are. Closing parentheses of calculate. And there you go. Now let's move this to this values field. Okay, now it's here. The only difference is that it won't show those good partners. You can either remove this so that it will just show only those double partners. Okay, let's bring it back. Next, let's do this again. This time we need to count the number of material number for each material description. So let me copy this whole matrix so that we will no longer format it. There you are. So this time we'll just interchange this material number to the description and let's expand it. Okay, so this measure actually meant for this table, so we need to do some separate calculations. So this time we need to add a measure which lists all material number for each description. Yeah, calculate, and of course the number of material number, and these AllExcept, because we need to lock or preserve the description column. Of course, the table that we need to do all the filter. We need to preserve the filter context of material description. Close parentheses of AllExcept and also the calculate. Okay, now let's include this under the values field. There you are. Okay, let's sort it. Oh, as you notice that there are 3 material number for each material description on this product A40, and the rest is 2 and the rest are okay, which is 1. We just copy the whole formula of this one and we just replace it. Replace the name and also the parameters. Okay, so redundant material number for each description. Of course, this we need to replace by list of this material number, each description is the opposite. And this one is list, basically this one also. This is the formula. There you are. That is greater than 1. Then we can now include this under this. Okay. Now let's count the number of multiple partnership of description to the material number, or vice versa. In this case of description, we can easily count them all, which is there are 4, but in this material number, it will take time for us to count them all. So we need to count them by using a measure. Let's add measure, then let's name the measure number of material with multiple parts. So we will seek help from calculate again, because it has a filter and expression. Since we are going to count the number of material, we can directly use the other measure that we formulated, which is the number of material. Then the filter is, of course, the table is combined table query. Okay. We can either use this list of description or the list of redundant description of each material. Both will result the same way. So in this case, I will go to use list of description for each material that is greater than 1. Now let's bring down this into this bar chart. Number of materials with multiple parts. There you are. So there are 46. 46 of material number with multiple partner in the description. Okay, now let's do this same way on this description. So in the description, it should result 4 material description. Let me copy this formula so that it's easier to come out a result. Then let's name this description with multiple partner. So this time we need to count the number of description. And we can either use this list of material each description or list of redundant material number. Then we're going to use this list of material number, let's say here, greater than 1. Then let's join this bar chart. Okay. So there you are, there are 4. Now we're able to identify, quantify, and list down all the Dubious data of material description and the material number. We are now able to report this to the system management to correct the source, or you can show it via Excel or CSV file. Before exporting, let me remove this column so that only the Dubious data should appear in this report before we download it. Similarly, on this matrix, let's remove this list of material for each description. Then let's export the data to CSV file. Let's name it material to description. And same here, export description to material. There you are. So let me download this one of the file and see how it looks like. Here it is. Now we can report it. Yeah, and of course make a table. So see, there are 2 different material descriptions that are almost alike, yet they are using one material number. So these are the things that need to be reported. So that's it, my friends. This is the end of the tutorial to identify, quantify, and list down all those redundant material number or description.